Con el objetivo de ser la firma líder a nivel global en el asesoramiento de personas y organizaciones, el mes pasado Korn Ferry adquirió a la consultora de recursos humanos Group en un acuerdo por 452 millones de dólares. Y justamente para hablar de ese tema, esta tarde platiqué con Rozek, él es el CFO de Korn Ferry International. Esto fue lo que nos dijo. Bueno, estamos con Rozek, él es el CFO de Korn Ferry. Queremos agradecerle mucho que tome esta entrevista. Robert, Bob, how are you?
Very good.
Thanks for being with us.
Happy to be here.
So, many people don't know Korn Ferry. What is Korn Ferry?
Korn Ferry is an organization that is actually going under significant transformation today. Its roots were in executive search. The company embarked on a strategy roughly 10 years ago of building out adjacent services in the talent management consulting space. So we do a lot of assessment, training, coaching, development, and so on. And we continue to evolve our organization to the point where last year we were about 57% executive search, and then the remainder 43% was these other services, and we're a $1 billion organization.
$1 billion?
Yes.
That's every year?
Yeah.
You had big news a few weeks ago.
Very big news. We announced an acquisition that we're actually treating more as a combination. It's a company called the Group, and they've been around for 70 years, very steeped in the talent consulting area. They do a lot of work in compensation and rewards. They do a lot of work in organizational design, job profiling, workforce engagement. And these are all tools that we can add to our existing L&TC business that we can bring to our clients. So if you step back and look at Korn Ferry today, we can help companies design their talent strategy. We can help them build their workforce. We can help them attract the new talent that they need to achieve their business strategy.
Who approached who and why?
Well, it's been a company that our CEO, Gary Bernstein, is very active in our M&A program. And Gary's been reaching out to them for 8 years. And I think over the summer, those discussions escalated, heated up, and I literally got off a plane from Asia. It was on Saturday about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I had voicemail messages from Gary saying, I know you just got home, pack your bag, you're going to Philadelphia. And so we spent a lot of time going through due diligence, really looking at the company, understanding how well we line up with them, how well we complement each other. And then the thing just got momentum and went from there.
It's said that post-integration management is kind of difficult for large corporations, like for a beer company or a consumer products company. This is going to be easy for you.
It'll be a challenge. It's going to be a lot of heavy lifting for us to get through this, but we've done it, a number of times in the past. We're good at it. We have a playbook. My experience is in integration. Planning is the key. So if you put a plan together, you stick to your plan, you follow your plan, you'll get there. The thing that will make this one a little bit more challenging is we've invested heavily in Korn Ferry in terms of our infrastructure. So we have a technology platform in place that makes us, I'll call it plug and play. The Group has been more decentralized. So the integration is really going to be migrating them into our platforms and our systems and processes. So it'll take us some time to do that. We're a public company in the U.S., so we have certain regulatory requirements, so we will have to move at an accelerated pace to some extent. Mm-hmm. And then with our go-to-market activities, our learnings over time have been that not waiting to bring the organizations together to really drive synergies is the way to go, and so we're planning to do that as well.
How do you think your customers will see this new conference?
I think our customer reception from what I've been told so far has been extremely well. I think they're looking for an organization, because if you think about the talent management landscape, it's a very fragmented industry, a lot of boutiques all over, and so having an organization that you can go to for all the talent needs along the people continuum is something that people are really excited about, and we're so far out ahead of any organization that's out there in being able to deliver that to our clients. There's not if we look at our competitor set, there's not another company that does what we do today.
Yeah, I was reading some remarks from your CEO, and he said that it's always a matter of people. It's like you can have like the best technology or large corporations on technology on other industry, but at the end of the day, it's always about people.
That's right.
How can we in this
year 2015, next year, understand what this means for any given organization that wants to deliver a better performance in a country like Mexico, or Latin America, or in the world?
Well, I'll give you an example. I mean, when I move into a new organization and I'm looking to build my team, I mean, I try to hire people who are smarter than me, right? And I can manage them, but I need people who can perform and deliver for me. And I think as you think about any organization, having that type of talent, and there's a real war for talent out there today, having that type of talent to deliver your organization, combine that with the work we do to make alignment between the CEO strategy and where the workforce is and what they're capable of delivering. It's a very powerful statement that Korn Ferry can help organizations make.
Yeah, and what about what's like the general discussion on human resources in the world? Where are we at now?
I think there's some changes that are happening in HR organizations. For example, I think there's much more focus on HR. I think historically HR was probably an area when you had a cost cut, you'd go there first. I think those days are probably behind us. There's much more focus on HR. Within HR, there's actually even starting to see some separation. Some companies are taking sort of the comp and benefits piece and saying, well, that's kind of mathematical, give that to the finance organization. But the strategic component of HR, succession planning, people development, talent attraction, the real strategy behind it, that's where you need a really skilled HR professional to drive that. And I see some of that change happening today. The other thing that, and we have a lot of intellectual property that sits behind our service delivery. And really what we're focused on is looking at, for example, you as an individual and saying, okay, if you were going to join Korn Ferry, how well would you fit into the company? It's kind of easy to say, okay, we know what your skills and quals are, but you as a person, how well would you fit? And so that's another movement that we're seeing where organizations are looking at talent and saying, well, it's hard to get talent on board. It's hard to keep them. We want to make sure we have the right ones. And so fit is becoming a much more significant component of the hiring process.
Could you say that technology has changed this?
I think technology has changed a lot. Like I said, we have a lot of intellectual property. So, for example, when I joined Korn Ferry, I had to go online and I did an assessment. It was about an hour. It's a series of questions that you ask. And then what it would do is it would take the way I profiled and line it up against the way the company, its culture, philosophy, personalities, and so on, and say, okay, you either have a great match or you've got somebody who will do well, but here's a couple of areas that could be potential derailers. Be aware of them, and if you see it happening, intercede so you can help this person be successful.
So it's like Match.com.
Match.com, that's right. Yeah, it's funny. I mean, Gary, our CEO, talks about stuff like that all the time. It was a real cool example is that you see people wearing those Fitbits now, and so he wants to create the Fitbit for Korn Ferry. So you as an individual, how is your professional development, fitness progressing, throughout the course of your career?
Which differences do you see amongst all these regions in the world, like Asia, Latin America, Europe?
I think regions are obviously economically at different stages. What we're seeing right now in the U.S., in terms of our search business, for example, is on a good growth plane at this point in time. Other areas it's a little bit more challenging to you have to get under the covers to really understand what's happening because of the currencies. With the dollar becoming so much stronger, like for example in Latin America and Mexico, if you look just at the revenue numbers, you kind of scratch your head and say, "Wow, you guys are struggling there." But when you put things on a constant currency basis, you would see we're actually growing.
Well, that's just because of what's going on with the Fed.
That's right, and the strength of the dollar and all that. So I look at our business and I look at Europe, I look at Latin America, I look at Asia Pacific. And again, when you get under the covers and look at things on a constant currency basis, or one of the things I've started to do is also look at volumes. So how many searches are we actually doing? And I'm pretty pleased with the performance of the folks in the field in this organization.
Your visit in Mexico, what is it about, and which perspectives of business do you see here?
Primary purpose is to come down and to meet with our folks in Korn Ferry, Mexico. Talk to them about the changes that are going to occur as a result of the Hay transaction, and how do we evolve our relationship with them over time to make sure that we're all taking full advantage of that. Today we got together with the folks from Hay. We had a session where we presented sort of the transaction, why it's good for them, why it's good for our clients, why it's good for our shareholders. I talked to people afterwards. In the session itself, they were a little quiet, but afterwards we had a social gathering, and I talked to people, and they were really excited. I mean, when you step back and you look at how well these firms complement each other, whether it's geographically, in our LTC business, 70% of our revenues are in the U.S. Hay Group, 80% of the revenues are outside the U.S., so that lines up really well. You look at our customers, our top 30 Korn Ferry clients generate $165 million in revenue. You look at what they sell into those clients, it's $2.5 million. Huge opportunity. So as you look at how these companies line up, you look at what we're doing in terms of being out in front of the industry, I think people are really jazzed to be part of this. And you step back 2 years from now and you look at what we've created, and it's pretty exciting to have the opportunity to have your fingerprints all over it.
Two final questions. How's the share reacted so far? How's the market reacted?
It's interesting. The day that we did the announcement, we were expecting probably a 5 to 10% increase in our shares. Our shares were up 1% that day. The market itself was down like 3.5%. So we kind of got to where we thought we'd be. The couple of days after that, the market was down fairly dramatically, and we felt the impact of that. We're a pretty cyclical stock still. Building out these adjacent services is going to help us eliminate some of the cyclicality and tie into economic cycles. But our stock has rebounded nicely now. I think where the market is looking at us today is they're saying, okay, you guys have done a nice job on your past acquisitions. This one's 5 times bigger than anything you've ever done. You still got to prove yourselves to us. And so it's up to us over the next year to bring these two organizations together, successfully integrate all the back office operations, successfully integrate our go-to-market activities, and demonstrate to the street that we're going to, 1 + 1 is going to equal 4.
Yeah. And finally, what would you say to one of your customers that, now that you are integrated with Hay?
I would say, it's up to the customers and it's up to us to work in closer partnership together, making sure that we understand what their business issues are, and then taking advantage of the arsenal that we have to bring to bear to help them solve those business issues.
Very good. Bob, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Gracias.